tree over here, and I thought, what could be down there? And I just saw a few franklins disappearing off into the grass, so nothing to worry about. A few rattling cisticolas calling. Tweet, 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 tweet. First lady, you'd like to know on average how many miles do we walk on one of our bushwalks? I'd like to say it varies greatly depending on kind of what's happening, but anywhere between, I'd say 4 miles would be one of the shorter walks, and up to about 8 miles, 9, 10 miles for one of the longer walks. 3 hours you can cover a lot of ground just walking around, and sometimes we kind of race to one area, find tracks there, and if we don't have a vehicle and other tracks get called in, we just have to hot-foot it on foot to get to the next set of tracks that we start following up on. But this afternoon we've taken it very easy. We've probably done, I'd say maybe 3 miles. After our successful start, we thought, let's just take it easy and slowly and just enjoy ourselves out here. We didn't have any pressing kind of things to look for, so we, like I said, took it slowly, and it kind of pays off. When you're moving slowly, you can find the smaller things. That nightjar was a good example and a bonus of what we found from moving slowly and kind of cautiously through the bush, making sure we don't overlook anything. A kite spider was another little bonus. So yeah. But none of us actually carry GPSs, so we don't keep track really of how far we're moving. It's good fun though, a little bit of exercise, a bit of excitement, often finding exciting, dangerous or possibly dangerous animals on foot. This little riverbed, thick area behind me over here is where Kruger last actually had her cub. We were parking ourselves at the base of that big tamboti tree over there and looking down into the riverbed. Tricky spot, we couldn't see her very well, but that's where she last was. And from here to where she is now with tail is probably only about half a mile, straight north. Very good, and we're going to send you half a mile straight north to that very position.
Okay, you're back with us. We apologize for whatever technical issues are going on that side. We have slowly made our way back to Buffelshoek Dam. We're going to prepare the drone in a moment. And here we are. It is going to be a beautiful sunset. Let's go. We might as well go right down there. Fantastic. Hippos are still here, doing their thing. I didn't expect them to have gone. Here we go. Are you Scuba Steve? Okay, so we're here with our hippos. We're going to stay here for a little while. We're going to set up the drone and we'll be back shortly with some wonderful shots of the sky. And while we do so, I believe Dave and Taylor have sorted out their gremlins. Let's go back to them.
Sorry about that, everybody. We just had a little bit of technical difficulty, but we are back. Very nice. Now, Thandi is still just pretty much relaxing. She stopped calling, which is what I'd said to you, but you couldn't hear me. And she's now, I think, just enjoying the peace and quiet. Perhaps she's also watching the sunset, Steve? Maybe she was admiring the same view you had. I don't know. But she's just panting away. Maybe she's going to start calling again. Now she's actually twitched her ears. But while Thandi's not doing anything, look what I found. Shall I show you? Because we're not going to go anyway. We'll stay here and I'll just keep an eye on her. Do you know that this is the first time I've seen the seed pods of a Peltophorum africanum, the African wattle? How amazing is that? I don't know why I've never seen them before. And then I opened one up. Let me open up another one. So let me show you. I'm going to, how did I do it? Do the tear. Quite tough. I'm going to look for a little gap here. Oh, you know what? I took one out. It's going to be easier if I show you this one. Now, I don't know if I can, sorry, Tom, it's sliding down my head. I don't know if I can eat the seed pods of an African wattle. I do know some of the wattles in Australia are actually toxic and you shouldn't eat the seeds, so I'm probably not going to do the taste test now. I don't have a plant book with me, and so I don't actually know, but maybe we can ask Steve, maybe we can ask Scott if they know, or even Herbie if you can eat the seeds of an African wattle, or perhaps some of you can try and search on the interweb for me, because I don't have very good signal. There's a lot of the websites these days, they give you medicinal uses, they tell you if you can eat the fruit, or if they're toxic and all these different types of things. And if somebody finds an answer for me, hashtag Safari Live, let me know, because it does look really tasty and I really just want to eat it, but I know better than to eat things that are, I don't know if they're toxic or not. And the hospitals are far away from here. They look so nice. They even smell nice too. I mean, I suppose it smells like a pea. I don't really like peas, but maybe I'll like the beans from the African wattle. So there we go, some homework for everybody. Oh, Herbie says, no, I can't eat the seeds. Okay, I trust Herbie. So I will not be eating the seeds, even though I've better throw it away because it's so tempting. But that's quite cool. I didn't realize they had those beautiful seed pods on them. I'll find some more information about the seed pods, and next time we do bushwalk, then we shall have a closer inspection and we'll have a little chat about them. How does that sound? That was quite cool. I was surprised, in fact. I don't know why I've missed them over the last few years. How ridiculous. Obviously, I haven't been very observant. Now, Abija, who's only 10 years old, who I'm loving all the young viewers today, thank you for your question. You've asked, why do leopards have spots? Well, Abija, funny enough, we actually call the markings that are on leopards rosettes. So it's not quite a solid black spot. You can see she's got solid black spots around her head, and then also they go down to her paws and on her tail. But in the middle of her body, she's got a rosette. So it's black on the outside with a sort of tawny tan color in the middle. Cheetahs have just got big black spots covering their body, but for both of those cats, it's very, very important for camouflage. So it actually helps hide them away. Now, it doesn't sound like much, but I might, hang on, you know what I'm going to do for you? I think I have a photo on here, wipe the screen, of Hosanna, who was he was walking through the grass. So shall we have a look if we can find that? Because that would be really nice to actually show you now how camouflaged a cat can really be. I'm almost here. Okay, are you ready? Look at that. Sorry, Darby needs to level it. I'm leveling. That was my leveling there, everyone, not the quickest Darby. How crazy is that? Hey? You can see his head. Yes, it's just poking up, but where's the rest of his body? Let's see if there's any more. No, I'm scared to show you because the rest are probably all very exposed, overexposed. Yeah, I was right about that. Oh, here's another one. There, that's an even better one. A little bit overexposed, but look at that, completely concealed. So now you can see how effective those spots and those rosettes are for camouflage. And all the different animals out here have got some form of camouflage, whether it's different colors on their bodies, whether it's spots and stripes. See, they also help break up the solid shape of the animal. So it's actually very, very important to have different colors and different patterns. Put that camera down now. But I'm very sad because there is a bit of clouds in the west, which is making it get darker than it should be. Laura Moore, you said, Herbie the hero strikes again, saving me from gastric distress. That could have been a disaster. Who knows what it could have done. That's why I said I want to do a little bit of research to find out what would happen if I were to eat that seed. Would it give me, we call it in South Africa, jippo guts? Well, you can guess. It kind of comes out both ends, which is not very attractive. Don't be wanting that, that's for sure, especially having to go out and do a 3-hour safari. I'd have to do bushwalk because I'd spend most of the time off of the car. Or whether it would just kill me. So it's good not to just eat anything that you don't know. Very important that you, of course, don't do that. Now, Seeing as though I almost ate something I wasn't supposed to. I'm just joking, I wasn't going to put it in my mouth. Scott has found something that's a little bit more edible and probably won't give you an upset stomach.
Yes, well, thanks to Herbie, Taylor is forever in debt, and like some of you have said, it would have been a nasty scenario had she have eaten that. Herbie and I were in fits of hysteria when we heard about those updates. Now, like Taylor mentioned, there are some berries and fruits that you can eat out here. These are the fruits of the magic Quarry bush, and you'll notice that some of them are still small and green, but others have gone a kind of reddish color. Those are the ones I'm going to pick. Ooh. That was an epic fail. The 3 I picked all went flying onto the ground. Let me get a few more here. And then I'll come up a little bit closer to you guys to where some birds actually did a similar thing to what I'm about to do. And you can actually see all the birds droppings over here with the seeds. There's not too much flesh on them, and I'll show you exactly how much flesh now. There's a little whole berry. You can see the seed is quite big next to it, but there is a delicious layer of sugary fruit around the outside, which I'm about to plonk into my mouth. Very sweet. Oops, that went flying away. They really are so nice. I mean, tiny, you'd have to sit here for a day eating them to get anywhere, but they are really nice. So, I've got some snacks. Don't know how I'm going to get out of here. Some hors d'oeuvres. Do you want me to bring you one, Lou? Sure. Don't know what I'm going to keep them in. Let me actually get a few more. Okay, Louise, excuse me for spitting out the seed there, has requested a few berries to be delivered back to camp. You know what? They'd actually be very nice if they were chilled. So if you ate them chilled, that'd be very, very refreshing. Ooh, Louise suggests frozen Quarry berry with vanilla ice cream. Good idea, Lou. I think that's going to happen later tonight. And this is a good way for me to spend the last 15 minutes of the safari picking berries for everyone back at camp. Or at least the last 15 minutes of the safari for me, because then it'll be too dark to walk. It's such a rewarding thing. Not rewarding, but it's such a wonderful feeling harvesting things to eat yourself as opposed to buying them cling wrapped from a grocery store. That's why I like to try and grow my own vegetables, but sadly, being a nomadic man of the wilderness, I'm never in one patch for long enough to justify a veggie patch, really. But at the camp we managed up in Kenya, Nikki and myself, we had a wonder... Whoa, be careful, Senzo. Senzo just did one of his fancy dance moves there. It's a pity I didn't have the camera on him. And another one. So this is the harvest. There's one berry for almost everyone back at camp. Slim pickings, but I'll do my best to get more berries as the days unfold. Okay. Let's just hope we've got enough vanilla ice cream. It's the end of our kind of resupply week. We get our... Oh, no, it's not. Is it Wednesday today? We should have got our resupply today. That's great. We get our resupply weekly. Oh, it's Tuesday. Okay, so yes, our resupply has come today. The kitchen was looking a little bit bleak yesterday because we had eaten everything and we were awaiting the fresh goods to arrive, so there should be plenty of ice cream for us to mix one berry each with. 1 teaspoon of ice cream with 1 little Quarry berry, and off you go. Now this is something quite interesting over here. It is from this morning, but some of you may have not been on the sunrise safari, and I'm basically kneeling in a puddle, an old dried out puddle, let me come around this side, of buffalo pee. Here are the buffalo tracks, and over here is the track of Hosana, a young male leopard. And what's absolutely phenomenal and fascinating about the sequence of tracks is that he had trailed this herd of buffalo for about a mile from where we last saw him trying to stalk them yesterday morning. He followed them through the night, And we actually got a report from some of the guys on Chitwa that it looked like his tracks were still following that same herd of buffalo that then headed north away from Chitwa Dam early this morning. Ooh, excuse me. These berries are giving me the hiccups. Good stuff. We are going to continue bimbling about over here. We're not too far from our vehicle, but we're going to see what else we can find you while there's still some light, and send you across to Taylor, who sadly has to leave Thandi shortly.
We are going to leave her soon, and the reason why we've decided, instead of sitting with her, to move away is because if that cub does come through, we've basically lost the sun now, and it's going to get dark very, very quickly because there's a thick, thick cloud cover over the Drakensberg Mountains and down through the west. So we're not allowed to look at her after dark, as you can imagine. She's still very, very young. Thandi's also got a kill down on the ground. So it's kind of just a recipe for disaster. So we'd rather just let them be on their own, be quiet, and not attract any animals into this area at all. But it's been lots of fun, and hopefully Thandi does manage to hoist that kill just a little bit off the ground, so that if some pesky hyenas do come through, they don't steal her kill. And the good news is that other female leopard that was moving around, it sounded like it moved, I think, north. So not coming down in this direction. So that's good news for Thandi. She hopefully won't have too much trouble on her hands tonight. And I hope that that little cub comes back, wherever it is. Maybe it's gone off. Made friends with the squirrels? Probably not. Probably trying to chase the squirrels. The Thandi will eventually get up and go looking for it if the little one does not respond to her very calm call. Can you imagine, though? You know what it's like for any of you who used to play out and go riding your bikes with your friends. I remember that if I didn't come home when my dad called, my goodness, would I get into trouble. If I was 1 minute out after dark, I'd be in a whole bunch of trouble. Come on, girl. I wish that little cub would just come running out so we could at least get a couple of minutes with the last light. But I don't know if all the luck is on my side today. Now, Debbie, you and I are on the same page today. I said it earlier. I said I think she is. She's just calling a little bit to make herself feel better about herself, that she tried to call the cub. But you've also said that she's just enjoying a bit of quiet digesting. Yes, that's exactly what's going on. I don't blame her. I really, really don't blame her. Just wondering where it's going to come from. Like I said, she didn't keep looking in a certain direction. She's sort of scanning around at the moment. Now, the fading light is not only going to affect us, but it's of course going to affect the drone that's up in the sky, and that's with Steve and Sebastian. So let's go and see what that sunset looks like.
Thank you very much, Taylor. There you can see our vehicle at Buffelshoek Dam, the big muddy pond. We are 100 meters in the sky. It's about 300 feet. And the setting sun is racing towards the horizon, and we have the benefit of the drone, and it is a marvelous view. But yet, if we happen to cut from the drone to the vehicle camera, you will see how the dam in itself is marvelous. Isn't that spectacular? So that is breathtaking indeed, Lou. So even with all the technology you want in the world, there's nothing quite like the reflection of trees off of water. The hippos are in the dam doing their thing, looking at us quite enviously. I don't know why I said the word enviously, but looking at us, they would probably like to come out soon. The drone is up in the air, not bothering anybody, but we're going to make it land soon because the batteries are going to die. But the marvelous shot that we have of Buffelshoek Dam in this fading light. So if we can jump back into the view of the drone, please, Lou. My favourite part of the reserve, Justin, so far, it's a very good question. Always like going to the dams. Dams are always quite special. Sorry, there's a bit of picture break up there. Dams are always special. I don't have a favourite part yet. The reserve itself is quite uniform. You know, there's very small differences in it. There's different tree types around the place, but it's quite flat. There's no real rocky outcrops or anything like that. I always enjoy a nice vantage point on a little koppie, a little rocky outcrop, which we don't have any in the area. So it's difficult to get nice and high up and to see beautiful sunsets like the one we are framing right now. But always spending time with the sunset at a dam is something special. I think it's the animals really that do it for me in and around, and the wonderful plant species that we find moving through the wilderness. That is the reason for being here, and I suppose the smells and the sounds are what echo and reverberate through my soul each day. But in general, I enjoy being all over the place here. There isn't one particular spot that I've yet found to be my favorite, if that answers your question. Beautiful lighting on that hippo. So we're going to land Maurice. He needs a little bit of a recharge on the battery front. Not sure if we're going to get him up in the air again, but we are going to go over to Scott Dyson, who is not on bushwalk anymore. He is driving.
Yes, we decided just to slowly start heading back to camp and see if we don't get lucky finding anything on the vehicle. I'm sure it must have been absolutely beautiful across with Steve, and yeah, it's maybe a little bit late to get the drone up again. I'm sure you got the most beautiful session possible. The light is only going to subside now. What a wonderful afternoon it's been. Now, I forgot to mention that these Quarry berries are an aphrodisiac. So, thankfully I only had 3. Not sure how powerful they are. But I'll keep you guys posted. Yeah. Interesting stuff. What I find interesting is that, you know, aphrodisiacs around the world, I think a lot of it is the placebo effect, because the guys up in Kenya, all the local guys up in Kenya, when they saw macadamia nuts, whoo-wee, they wanted to get a handful of those. All the local Maasai guys, that for them is the ticket to good baby making. Whereas yeah, and happy wives, as Louise says. But I haven't noticed that, and I eat macadamia nuts all the time. So maybe the Quarry berries are a similar thing. Time will tell. Actually, I haven't really eaten many of them before, not that I can remember. So quite happy that I had a nibble on them this afternoon. Here's the stash over here for the rest of the crew. Torn, you'd like to know if the guides ever walk in the dark? Sheesh, maybe if they had too many Quarry berries, they may go for a long walk in the dark looking for somebody with which they can do their business with. But it's not a good idea to walk around after dark. It's very, very dangerous to do so. Having said that though, if push comes to shove and we were to break down and needed to cover some distance after dark, if we walked clapping our hands, singing a song, banging on some pots or anything loud, all the animals are going to head out of that area. They're not going to want to stick around to see what on earth is going on. And of course a flashlight also really does help greatly with protecting you. You wouldn't want to keep quiet like you would on a bushwalk, because then you can startle animals. And I think the predators are more likely to possibly snack on you after dark than they would be during the day, because they're going to feel comfortable with the fact that if you haven't seen them, they're going to possibly see you as a meal. So yeah, walking after dark is not advisable. On 1 or 2 occasions though, we've done it here, you know, head out a little bit early, use a flashlight. I remember once heading out at 3 in the morning to trail Shadow. We knew that she was about to finish a duiker kill, We had a TV show the following morning. I was still a rookie back then, so I was just a donkey running around camp helping out where I could. And I wasn't a presenter for those TV shows or a guide for those TV shows. So I headed out at 3 in the morning with 2 trackers to the last position where Shadow had a kill. We knew that she would have finished the remains of that dyke in the course of the night, so we wanted to get onto her trail and follow her so that when the TV show started at, I think it was 6 a.m., we would have a good idea where she was. And it paid off incredibly well, because 2 minutes into the TV show, we found her on an impala kill, and Peter got to her, one of the old presenters, while that impala was still kicking live on TV. So that was one example of me walking around after dark, literally following her every footprint with a flashlight. It was very exciting, but it's kind of special circumstances call for special measures. Okay, well, enough reminiscing from me. Let's send you across to Taylor and see if she can find you any wonderful, fresh memories. That doesn't make sense.
If I can find wonderful, fresh memories or Quarry berries. I'm not sure which one it was now. Well, we've left Thandi and we mobile down Cheetah cut line towards Quarry Main. And we're hoping to find either Hosana, who apparently disappeared into Torchwood, which is that way, and then Tingana was seen at this pan in front of us last night. I don't know where he went from there, and I haven't heard any more reports about it. So I thought I'd just come and, and try my luck. Why not? And I don't know where Tumba is or where he's been hiding about. I'd love to see him. I can't wait to see young Tumba. I'd love to see how much he's grown and if he's anywhere near the size of Hosana yet. Although I think Tumba's about 6 months younger. We still have a bit of growing to do. Just check here that there's no fresh tracks, because this is the time, of course, that the cats like to start moving. Do you know what, David? Do you know what I'm thinking? So last night when we were leaving Chitwa, we came through and we stopped at the pan, and I said, why is that warthog out of its burrow? I said this to David. You didn't know this, though, because we weren't live. And there was a big pig standing right outside his burrow, but it was really dark already, and I thought, that's a little bit unusual. And I'm wondering if it wasn't because of Tingana now. Maybe he was moving through that area and we just maybe missed him. I don't know, but now that I think about it, I'm kind of convinced that he must have chased that warthog out somewhere and we were just at the wrong place at the wrong time and missed him by a matter of seconds. So I think that's what happened there. I don't know, I just thought I'd bring it up because it's been bothering me the whole time. Couldn't work out why that pig was out so late. So we'll go down here. I think we might actually do the length a little bit further down Quarry Main. Perhaps we'll go down towards, I don't know what road, maybe all the way to Triple M. Have a little scratch around here, see if anybody is crossing into the property. I don't know who else is on Djuma at the moment. Well, I don't think Tingana is there. I think he might be in Chitwa, perhaps hiding behind the dam wall, which he likes to do. Now, as the sun goes down, we're getting to this crepuscular period now, which is normally when the nocturnal creatures start to come out. And Justin, you were wondering if we ever see any aardwolf, which is also a nocturnal creature. I've never seen an aardwolf in the Sabi Sands, and I've been here since 2015, not at Wild Earth, but down in the south. David, you've been at Wild Earth for a little bit longer than me. Have you ever seen an aardwolf? Not one. I haven't even seen an aardwolf track, to be honest. So they might be around, maybe, maybe not. You know where we did see them, though, is we saw them in the Mara, which was quite cool. That was quite nice. That was really nice. David and I had an amazing sighting. This one came running out and it stopped on the road and then actually posed for us. So we got some really cool footage. We were even able to reposition the car. We must have spent about 2 minutes with it before it slunk off into the grass, and I hadn't seen one of those again. Well, the last time I'd seen one was probably down in the Eastern Cape, so I left there in like 2014 or so, and that was a very long time ago. So that would have been the last time that I would have seen one. There were lots and lots and lots of them around there. And I haven't seen an aardvark for a very long time either. I didn't get to see an aardvark in the Mara. Can you believe it? And I think Brent snatched up all the aardvark sightings. What else does it? Saw striped polecat though, which was epic because I didn't think I was ever in my life going to see a striped polecat. That was a serious surprise. An SS. Serious surprise. I like that. What else are we going to see here? I always get excited when I come to this area because I think that I'm perhaps going to bump into a leopard. I've seen Hosanna here many times. Maybe someone's going to come out for a drink. Waterbuck. I think these are the waterbuck that we saw earlier when we were doing the school drive. There were a couple of them, we just couldn't see them. What are those at the watering hole? Oh, there's teals. I've got my binoculars out now. Or are they comb? No, what are they? Are they maybe red-billed teals? Lou's telling me she doesn't know. Don't worry, Lou. I don't expect you to know the answer to that. But it could be female comb-billed ducks as well. Let me just have a quick squiz at my bird app. Managed to reinstall the bird app, everybody. Finally, it only took me about 10 goes. I'm very technologically disadvantaged. We're going to go to ducks first. Let's do the knobbill, comb-billed ducks. Where are you? There you are. I think it is the female. Let me find a picture of a girl. Here we go. Have a look here. What is everybody thinking? While you look, I'm going to look with my binoculars. Multitasking. This is quite far away. Very speckled on the breast, very dark wings. David? Are you convinced? Shall we have a look at a red-billed teal anyways? I don't think, no, it is definitely female knob-billed duck, so I'll just quickly do this. We'll go out there. Then we need to go down to T for Taylor, or for teal. And then, oh, I could have just swiped left. Red-billed teal. Nah. Sorry, my hand's in the way. Those are definitely female knob-bill, comb-bill ducks. Nice! So, not the red-billed teal, but it was dark. So I wasn't sure. And I also think they look a little bit taller than the teals too. They might be slightly larger. So quite a nice surprise. Thank you, little birdies. We shall carry on. Please feel free to hang around in the morning. Why can't I say morning correctly? So that we can have a look at you in the nice light. And we get white little speckles on them. Oh, I need lights. Why does it feel so dark? Okay, we'll put those ones on. And I think it's time for a spotlight. I just need to find it under my coats. Right. Guess what we're going to be looking for now, because I have yet to see a chameleon since I've been back in the sands. Who knows? Maybe I'll break out in a song. Just checking behind me to see if there's any vehicles coming. So I'm going to keep my eyes fixated on the edge of branches and in between leaves to look for the camouflaged chameleons. Steve, however, beat me to it. He had his spotlight out long before I did.
Yes, we did. We had a bit of time, Taylor, to get prepared. While you were enjoying your leopard sighting, we packed away Maurice and we got the infrared working. And we are now back on our northern boundary for a last-ditched effort to see if the Nkuhuma Pride are going to raise their heads, their sleepy heads from their day of slumber, and reveal themselves to you wonderful people at home. I know I would like to see it. Seb would like to see it. He didn't manage to come out with us last night. He was doing some extracurricular work, doing a time lapse for the stars, so he missed out on some wonderful activity with the lions. But Taylor is looking for chameleon. I'm always looking for a chameleon, but who knows what we might find. There we have a nightjar in the road. No, that was a European roller. I'm not going to spot on him. He's probably his last meal of the day as he flew down and insect. Looked very similar to the way a nightjar lands in the road. At this time of day, you expect most of the birds to start falling asleep. They've all been singing along to reinforce their pair bonding and their territory status, and now they're all going to slumber because they cannot see at night. They don't have the benefit of infrared or a spotlight. So, wonderful. Any comments on the sunset, folks? I wonder who won it. P2 Watcher wants to know if we've got the African grey goose. I've never heard of an African grey goose. I can look in my bird app, but it's not a bird I'm familiar with. Sabi, have you heard of that?
Which one, sorry?
African grey goose.
No.
No, I'm not familiar with that, sir. PT Watcher, I'm sorry. Potentially further up in Africa. I mean, hence the name. It's probably an African species, but not something I've seen or heard of in South Africa. It's not something I came across either in Kenya when I was there, or in my stint in Malawi. Folks, I apologize for my looking around. I am searching with huge bright eyes, looking for any sign of these lions. We're not far away from where they were left, just north of the boundary on this side. And so my attention is on the spotlight and on hopefully finding you a big feline. And as we start to descend into this dip, I'm sure we're going to lose some signal. So before we do so, let's go over to Taylor in our race for the chameleon search.
Is it? Hey, Steve? Who's going to find a chameleon first? Oh, sorry, a couple of bumps there. I might have to pull out all the stops tonight and go to the chameleon's favourite spots. Whether they've changed in the last few months, I'm not sure, but we can only give it a bash, can't we? Now, Stephen, earlier, while we were with the school drive, and I was with that tiny little elephant calf at the mud wallow, I heard you say something about Maurice, the matrice, the drone. Unacceptable. Unfortunately, Maurice's name has already been used up, and that's of course by my elephant, so we can't be having that. Hey David, none of that. What's happened? You're losing some camera equipment. Oh no, everybody, it seems like a ring of sorts. Oh no. How cool is that? I'm in a circle. Okay, we're just going to sit here. David's hands in front of the camera, everybody. He's just taken it. What was that? A protector. Can we have a look at it? Here we go, everybody. Here's the protector. Quite nice. You can see this is what rattled loose. So that's what happens when you do have corrugations and things like that. That's why it's important to constantly keep checking the equipment, from all the bolts on the cars to even the bolts on the tires. You don't want to be losing a tire, and it can happen quite easily. So we're constantly checking those things all the time. But yeah, there we go. You just saw something. If any of you weren't convinced that this was live, if it wasn't, we probably would have cut that bit. Hey, David. It's one of those things. So what I was saying, Steve, is no, the drone cannot be called Maurice, because poor Maurice is an elephant, my dear friend, that was given to me for my 21st birthday by the team up in the Mara. Now, I know, Steve, I'm only teasing you. I'm just pulling your leg, of course, so don't stress about that at all. I'm not really having a go at you. If you really want to call the drone Maurice, it'll have to be Maurice the Second. Because, although that actually sounds too fancy, he can't upstage Maurice the Elephant. I don't know. Maurice 2.0. Oh, hello, Nightjar. Oh, man, I was going to stop for it, but I only saw it at the last second. It was just right on the edge of the road. But we'll see if we can find another one. That's something I've noticed. The fiery neck nightjar is very colourful. Well, not colour. No, I say there's no purples and blues on it, but the mottling on the feathers is quite nice. Oh, let me not blind the other safari guards. I've just dimmed my lights just to let these guys carry on. There's some happy guests on safari. I'm just going to say hello and thank you very much. Hello. Thanks. Hey, good on you. Oh, long time no see. Yes, you're Chitwa now. Okay, I'll come see you soon. Just bumped into a friend of mine that I have not seen for years. For a very, 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 very long time. Reynard, okay, that's quite cool. Didn't quite realize that he'd started working at Chitwa. Very nice. That was like a weird surprise. Like, you know when you're walking through the shops, and you know, well, there's more of a chance of bumping into somebody that you know on the shops. But anyways, they actually worked up on a game reserve in northern Limpopo, so a bit further away from me, actually near Mapungubwe. In fact, him and his wife, I think maybe his wife has come down also to run the camp. Maybe she's the new camp manager. Very cool. I didn't even realize that because I've been gone for so long and I'm terrible at trying to keep in contact with people. So I'll have to go and visit them at some point. That's nice. Right, Steve has managed to find Signal. Let's go see if he's come up with another creative name to call the drone.
My apologies, my apologies. I remember being told that the drone was called something, and it's actually Matrice is the style, and I thought I was saying that all day, possibly chatting with Taylor yesterday when she showed me her little elephant. That name has stuck in my head, so I am at no way responsible for naming the individual, and I will not take responsibility for naming it, so that is up to James and Seb, I suppose. But I think it was named Marvin in the TV show. I don't think Seb has been listening to me this afternoon when I said Maurice a couple of times. He was just so engrossed in my conversation, he didn't hear the words. But folks, we are approaching the area, and what I would like to do is I'm going to switch off the vehicle. Seb is going to pan into the horizon. Beautiful view. We're going to have a moment of silence, and we are going to listen for any sounds of lions. Looks like Saturn. Little twinkling planet. Where? Just to the left of the frame. You've got it right in the middle of the frame now. Is it very... There we go.
That thing.
Look at that, eh? Definitely not twinkling. There's definitely a planet. I would say it's Saturn. Beautiful planets. I think it's Saturn just by the coloration. It's quite orange in color. Venus is a lot brighter, even when it's close to the horizon. It's easy to find planets because planets will often follow, well, they do always follow the same line through the sky as the moon and the sun do. The sun just set below where Saturn is there. Okay folks, so we're going to continue being very quiet and moving slowly along here and see if we get any sign of these lions. But while we do so, I believe Taylor's got some insects.
We do. We've been seeing lots of moths. We saw some this morning that were mating. Now, I don't think these two are mating because the angle that I'm sitting at is different to where Davy is, and the little moth is actually a little bit further right than the other moth. But from this angle, it does look like they're mating, but they're not. Now, they're not quite white. They're almost cream in color. And I did bring both my butterfly books out with me today and hope to do some butterflies, but of course we didn't see any. We got hopelessly distracted by a beautiful leopard. Can you blame me? And I need to get a moth book, I suppose. I have yet to see or find a moth book, so I will keep my eyes out next time I'm in the big city, see if I can find something on them. But it's quite cool. They're very pretty, in fact. They're lovely. Davy, is there any way that I can put the spotlight on them and we show everybody what they look like in color? We do that. I'd like you to see, because that would help with the ID of these guys. So Davy's just going to go out of infrared now. And I'm going to try not put... There we go. Now you can see. So it's almost like they're the mother of pearl in color. They're beautiful. They've got a lovely sheen to them. Not too feathered antenna from what I can see. Very nice. They're just sitting there, just resting out. at the moment, not taking flight just yet. Very cool. Cool. Nice little moths. I must be honest, I did think that they were chameleons when I saw them. It's not beat around the bush there, that's why I came here. First lady, as I try and reverse out back onto the road, you're wondering when does winter start? Well, not right now, because I'm still sitting in shorts and a t-shirt. It's so warm this evening. What are we in now? March, April, May. Winter should start in June. And June is actually not too bad. It's quite pleasant, in fact. It's just a little bit chillier. And then July is very, very cold. August, it starts to warm up a little bit, but it's particularly windy in August and September. So that's not very pleasant. I'm not looking forward to August and September, even though my birthday's in August. You know, I'll give it a skip if it means that I can get rid of the wind. I don't like the wind at all. So yeah, so we're in autumn. Oh no, I'm not quick enough at braking. I keep trying to get the nightjars and they keep flying away from me. We'll get one. Let's see, I think there's another one up in the road ahead. What is that? It also could be a piece of elephant dung though. Not sure. Actually, it's a little blackbird. Maybe it's a fork-tailed drongo. I'm not really putting the light on it. There we go, just was showing David. Are you a fork-tailed drongo or are you a southern black flycatcher? It doesn't look like it's got a very curved bill now, does it? And with the fork-tailed drongos, they've got quite a sharp edge on the edge of their bill. And I can't see the tail too well either. And of course, we're not going to see the red eye in infrared sitting on the road. But it's one of them. Maybe a flycatcher. Looks a bit eerie, don't you think, with the eye reflecting back at us? What are you doing down on the ground? You should be perched up in a tree by now. You're not a nightjar or an owl or a thick knee. Get back up on your branch. Maybe it's come down for one last dust bath, or perhaps it saw some flailing insects and thought it might have a midnight snack. Well, the equivalent of a midnight snack for a bird. Louise in Final Control says it looks like the bird version of the Grim Reaper. Let's hope not, because I don't see anybody else in sight except David and I. That's no good, hey David? No, that's no good indeed. Oh, okay, sorry, I understand now. It only reaps birdie souls, quote unquote, says Louise. Let me keep the lights off of it. It is going to fly away, but it's flown away. Okay, bye little birdie. Either a, like I said, fork-tailed drongo or a southern black tit. The chameleon challenge is still on, everybody. I haven't forgotten, I promise. Just got distracted by moths and birds. Sounds about right, if it's me. There's like a hot spot here. There's totally a hot spot here. I found chameleons in this area so many times. Actually, where those moths were, on that exact same tree. But we're going to keep using our spotlight to try and spot those reptiles. And I'm hoping that I'm going to beat Steve. Let's go. Well, I hope that he hasn't found one yet.
I have not found one yet, Taylor. We have not found anything apart from a spotted thickney and a couple more birds that are daring enough to still be hunting at this time of night. Maybe it's the vehicle lights that drop the insects in the road and the rollers jump down and take their pickings. That seems to be the case. But who knows? Who knows? We haven't seen any birds for the last few minutes. We had one more lilac-breasted roller fall down and a woodland kingfisher take flight, and then I think that is the end of it. But we are looking for chameleons. The lions have not shown themselves at all. We spent a few moments longer there sitting very close to where Tambuti Dam is. Not a peep of them, but that is sometimes to be expected. Might be a little bit too early still for them. Maybe they had something to eat, or maybe they hunted in the day. As I mentioned earlier, the landowner that was looking for them did not manage to find them. So it's possible they might have moved off and hunted at some stage during the day. It is not unknown. Saw some eyes there. There is a duiker. I'm not going to shine on him because they do not enjoy the spotlight, and we just blind them and make them prey. Easy prey. Jocelyn would like to know my favorite animal to track. Well, Jocelyn, there are lots of animals to track, and there's also lots of animals to find. But the hardest animal to track is a leopard, and the easiest is a buffalo. I absolutely love tracking lions. There's just something about tracking a pride of lions, following their hunting techniques or their hunting areas and the carcasses they leave behind, and then eventually finding them. I always give myself an internal high five when I find lions on foot. There's just something quite special about that. Tracking leopards is a serious art form, especially if you intend to find the animal. So I would say definitely my favorite is lions, purely because I've had a lot of success in tracking lions. I haven't had that much success in tracking leopards, but I have found a few in my life, but I think maybe a lot of that was just blind luck. But we do have gentlemen such as Herbie and Rexon nearby that do assist, and they are experts. As you saw this afternoon, it took Herbie the better part of 10 minutes to find Thandi. I'm sure Scott had a lot to do to help with that, but I hope that answers your question. One of the most fun experiences I had was tracking giraffe. In fact, we were in the north of the Kruger, and I demonstrated to the students how the giraffe was feeding. It was moving left and right, going from bush to bush, and you could tell the wind direction, because giraffe like to feed into the wind, well, the wind in their faces, because of the tannins and all that sort of chemicals that the trees communicate. So we had the giraffe sort of meandering left and right, and then I did that for about 10-15 minutes, and I showed the students, look at what this animal's doing. And then we stepped back and we looked at the vegetation. Now, the giraffe was following a very clear sort of depression of knob thorns. To the right of us was a rocky ridge, and to the left was an open sort of floodplain with no trees. So I then said to them, now you can see what the giraffe is doing. Let's catch up, because we'd seen the giraffe the night before. So we were about 9 or 10 hours, I think maybe actually 11 hours behind. And we went to the exact spot where we saw the giraffe, and we managed to track it in about 2 hours using those techniques. And you just went straight along, following the same sort of line with which the giraffe is going to go, but without following the zigzag. And that's something that through experience, when you know an area and you understand the terrain, like Herbie and Rexon know this area so well. They know where the water is, they know where the drainage lines are, and the animals that move around here know that too. They are moving for specific reasons. They're not just ambling through the bush. They know where they want to go. It's normally to and from water, and then back to wherever they're feeding, or den sites, or whatever it might be. So if you know that there's a dam in this direction, and you've got tracks, like we had that elephant earlier, and you've got a dam, you know it's there, and you've got tracks of an elephant moving quite quickly directly in the direction of that river or that dam, go straight there, see if you can find tracks there, and then move around from there. And invariably you'll find the animal a lot quicker. If you have to go from step to step following an animal, I tell you, it'll take you a very long time to find it, because that is not how you should track. You need to think like the animal, think outside the box. How fast is the animal walking? Is it feeding slowly? For example, when elephants are walking very quickly in a straight line, you know where they're going. They're going to water without a doubt. Buffalo are quite similar. And when elephants leave water, they meander again and feed until they're far enough away and thirsty enough again that they then turn around and come back, or go find another water hole altogether. So that's the case of that giraffe, and I've done it another time, and it was really fun when you find the giraffe at the end. Sandra would like to know what the different eye colors is of these animals at night. Now, those bush baby crocodile generally got a red eye. Wildebeest sometimes do as well, and I've also noticed that sometimes hyena do. On moonless nights, hyena have got a red eye, and on moonless nights, most of the antelope species have got sort of a yellowish sort of green eye. And when there's a moon out, most of the antelope species have got sort of this emerald greenish sort of coloration, but their eyes twinkle. They don't seem to blink. But when you see a cat, for example, a leopard or a lion, they have got the same color eyes as the antelope, but their eyes, you can see them because they're two next to each other, whereas an antelope invariably on the side of the head. And when the lion looks at you, it physically blinks. A duiker and a steenbok are very difficult to identify because the size of them Their eyes are seemingly quite close together, and quite often you can mistake them for a leopard crouching low in the grass. So that is my experience with these animals. I've spent a lot of time having a look, and it does take practice. It took me a lot of time of spotlighting an animal, and then that's another reason why binoculars are important, because at night you can spotlight an animal from a distance, look with your binoculars, see what it is, and then move in. Last night we spotted the lions with a sort of an orangey yellow last night, so that's because they had blood all over their face. Okay, so we are going to say goodnight from Seb and myself. We're going to go over to Taylor, who is going to finish off the show, and I will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Sorry if you thought it was going to be Steve ending tonight. Ha ha ha, I've stolen it away from him. We're still looking for chameleons, and I don't understand where they've gone. I'm almost ready to sing a chameleon song. Like, I'm this close to singing a chameleon song. Because I don't understand. Why are they not here? It's warm, and it's warm. It's dark. We should easily be able to spot them. I mean, if I was finding chameleons in the Mara, I mean, then surely I could find them here. Let's check the trees properly. Let's just check. Well, I know that Scott found a little chameleon the other night, and the little chameleons prefer to actually hold on to the grass stems because their little feet, unfortunately, aren't able to hold or wrap around the big branches. So maybe I should check a little bit lower down. Perhaps we'll find a chameleon the size of my pinky. Maybe even smaller than that. That would be very nice to see, in fact. Actually, I want to see a small chameleon. I don't want to see a big one. I've had enough of the giant chameleons of the Mara. No, I feel like the pressure is on. I've seen all the leopards, seen lions. I can't have everything. And perhaps I'm going to have to wait a while to eventually find the chameleons. But we'll get there eventually. And yeah, that's just one of those things, I suppose. But I hope that you've enjoyed the safari this evening. It's been quite a bit of fun, sweating. Thank goodness the clouds came over to keep us nice and cold. Thandi was wonderful. Bushwalk was great. Steve, you're always wonderful. Big thank you from all of us, but we'll see you tomorrow morning.